as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new...
Welcome back to Marbella Now. My name is Nicole King, and to finish off the week's programming, I'm very, very grateful to welcome back Ali from the Achievers Toastmasters Club. It must have been, we were just talking, just before lockdown in February, nice weather in February, that we had an interview at the Guadalpine Banús Hotel, and Ali introduced me to Thomas, who'd written a book, and then lockdown. So let's just start there. Firstly, welcome to the RTV Marbella studios, Ali. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, Nicole. It's lovely to be back with you again as well.
Nearly, we met last time at the beginning of the year. Basically, nothing's happened in the middle, and now we're at the end of the year. How has lockdown been for you?
To be honest, I enjoyed it, and I have to say I'm one of the lucky people. We did live in a finca, so it didn't affect us so much. We could move around and we could go running around the area. So it was good. I caught up with a lot of reading. I did a lot of personal things that I wanted to catch up with, and I saved on a lot of traveling time. So you can always look at the positive side of everything, I think.
I think a lot of us, actually, that travel and move around a lot, realize that a lot of that isn't necessary, and it's better for our planet and for ourselves if perhaps we do some of our meetings via Zoom, online, because they're proven to be very effective and not as impersonal as one would have perhaps thought.
Absolutely. I would agree that a huge number of the meetings could be cut down. Even now, we can cut down and do so many things online. And it has given us this opportunity to see the benefits of online meetings and the technology, how it has helped us, and how much it will change our life in the future.
Regarding the Achievers Toastmasters Club, I love the idea of Toastmasters, and one, I think, big thinks of people just saying, oh, cheers. But really, it's the art of presenting, speaking in public. Nowadays, it doesn't matter what job you do, whether you're in production for TV, you're working at McDonald's, or you're a major company, knowing how to present yourself is fundamental. Is that why you joined the Toastmasters? What was the attraction for you?
Absolutely. Well, Toastmasters is known for its leadership and communication. And I joined initially Toastmasters for communication, improving my communication. And as you said, communication is key to success. But it goes beyond that. It goes into leadership. It helps you motivate people. It helps you set goals and achieve goals that you couldn't before or you wouldn't before. And we're all there to help each other. So there's no set structure that you have to rigidly follow. You can set your own time in your own pace and follow standard courses that you choose to achieve.
So there are actual courses to this. It's like a proper education.
Absolutely. It's almost like going to university. You can actually decide on which path you want to go on. Let's say it could even be TV and media. So you could start on, okay, you want to do a pathway on media and how to be a presenter. And what better time than now? You actually are looking into a camera. You're no longer looking at an audience. So there are 2 points to it. The first point is that you're no longer frightened by all those eyes that might be looking at you. But the second point is that you're looking into a black spot and you actually cannot gauge the audience or their reaction. So it's really trying to learn all different aspects of communication in the world of communications and leadership.
And it's funny you pointed that out, because it can be very off-putting when you're a comedian and not getting a feedback from an audience. But when there is no audience, it can be equally as off-putting, because, as you say, you can't gauge what the reaction is and the feedback. How long have you been a member of the Toastmasters?
I've been with Toastmasters now 5 years, and I've done numerous roles at Sergeant at Arms, the President. Last year I was Treasurer and Secretary, and this year I'm the Public Relations Manager and also the Area Director.
So what kind of things do you get up to? I mean, do you just get, like, I want to, as you say, follow an X career and they send you coursework? Do you meet to talk about things? And how does it actually work?
Well, each meeting has a structure. So each meeting has a structure in the sense that we present what we do. There are speeches, there's evaluation of those speeches, and those speeches are based on the pathways, the educational pathways that each person has selected. There are numerous pathways that you can select from, and they've all just been recently changed. So they've all been updated with new formats, and they've all gone digital. It's all online, and there's loads of things that you can choose from. But it's not just about those small meetings, because there's one club in Marbella, there's another 3 clubs in Malaga. We have competitions in between each other, and then there's other clubs in Andalusia, and then there's other clubs in Madrid and Barcelona. So Spain has numerous clubs, and it goes worldwide. So we then start interacting with all these clubs worldwide, learning from each other. There's so much interaction, so much networking, and so much fun to be had in Toastmasters.
I mean, you can see you're passionate about it. And obviously, after 5 years and all the different positions that you've held within the club, are the clubs like linked in any way to each other, or is it just that there's different Toastmaster clubs, or is there a syndicate or a circuit?
There is. There is Toastmasters International's headquarter, which is in America. And we're divided into countries, and then divisions, districts, divisions, areas. So, and we're all linked. So we meet on an annual basis twice a year. During competitions, we have conferences, and there's a whole load of learning events and workshops. So no, all the clubs are very linked. We do bring them down to areas that are close to each other to make it easy for people to travel within their areas and within their countries, or within Europe. And then there's obviously the international conference, which the whole world of Toastmasters comes together.
And what do you do at one of these big things when you all get together? Just like dine and celebrate the fact that you are Toastmasters and the brotherhood within? I mean, it's a lovely concept, the whole thing.
Yeah, no, it's not just brotherhoodship. So there's the competitions when you have the annual meetings. There's the annual competitions where everybody has competed throughout the whole year to actually get to that point. And there are several rounds of competitions before we choose the final World Championship of Toastmasters. But there's also loads of workshops and many other events where you can learn or teach or do networking. And of course, there's also a lot of fun to be had, and evenings where we go out and talk and eat together. So there's all that packed into it as well, which makes it even more fun.
It sounds like you get together a large, diverse selection of people, but here in Marbella, I imagine that's even more so. A lot of different nationalities must have a lot of different approaches to a similar subject, I would think.
Absolutely. Actually, the Achievers Marbella Club is an international group. We are, I would say, at least 4 or 5 different nationalities within our group, and that brings a wealth of different cultures and methodologies of communications, because we're all different. Each country communicates differently and has certain different manners of communications, and we learn from each other. What you might like, I may not necessarily like. So we also learn what is important in the world of communication, not just within a country, but worldwide.
I mean, culturally, can be so different, and traditions in one place. I remember as a little young girl when I was doing exchanges with a girl in Spain, and she'd come and stay with us, and she wouldn't say please and thank you for absolutely everything that was put in front of us, and yet they would make fun of me when I'd come to Spain, because every time they put a drink mat down, I'd say thank you, and they put the glass on the drink mat, and I'd say thank you, and then they put the water in the glass, and I'd say thank you, and they're looking like, what, crazy? She wasn't being rude, and I wasn't being ridiculous. It's just completely different cultures. You come, I found out, from Anaita, our guest earlier this week, from Iran.
That's correct.
So when did you leave Iran? How long have you been here? Because obviously you've got a good insight to seeing things differently.
Well, I left Iran when I was, if I remember now, 11, 12, sometime around then. I don't actually remember the exact year. We went to France. I was in France for 2 years, and then we came here. So if I remember correctly, I was 14, 15 when I arrived here. And I went to the English International College.
So you're an EIC child?
Yes, I was an EIC child, yeah. And I thoroughly recommend it. It was, to me, one of the best schools and best educations I got. And from there, I went to UK, did my PhD and bachelor's PhD, and then I moved back to Spain.
It's funny because we just did our United Nationalities of Marbella Summit a couple of weeks ago. One of the issues there is trying to develop career opportunities for youngsters here in Spain, because they tend to go to really, really good schools, get really good educations, go to university, back to the UK, and then not come back. Often because maybe the companies aren't really promoting that there are opportunities here. What brought you back? How did you work it out and be successful?
Yeah, I felt home to me was here. So I really came back home, and I had to make a decision whether I wanted the home or whether I wanted the other parts of life of achieving highs. So I did go to Iran for a couple of years before coming back directly.
How was that for you?
I moved up the ladder. If I wanted to have stayed being, within the top ladder and growing to the very top, I should have really stayed in Iran. I was already doing really well. I had good connections. I was in Tehran. So moving up the ladder was really easy. The opportunities are ripe over there, and there was plenty of work. I wrote 5 books while I was in Iran, and I was lecturing.
On what?
The first book I wrote was Welcome to Internet. Then the second book was the final second regarding all the issues on the year 2000. If you remember it at all.
I do.
Then,
the world was going to crash.
Then the third book was called Internet for Business. My 4th book was Internet for Research. And the 5th book I dedicated as a gift to Science Foundation in Iran, and it was Introduction to Genetics and Biotechnology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting passion going from the internet to then your last book. Obviously, to write a book isn't easy. Have an idea of a book. We're all writing books. We've all got a book in us.
Yeah.
But you've got 5 out of you. That must take some pretty serious self control and dedication. How did you actually manage to get yourself to sit down and write them?
I believe that you don't write it, but it comes to you. It came to me. It came to me. Of course, you have knowledge, but you got to put it together. And a lot of it was, there were days that I couldn't write, and there were days that I couldn't stop the pen. It would just flow through me. But also mentors. Good mentors are amazing. And actually tonight in Toastmasters, I'm talking about what the meaning of a good mentor is and how it can really change your life. And I had really, really good mentors in Iran. And they really helped me in making sure that I achieve and I do things that I wouldn't think I would be able to. I never thought I would be writing a book, but they pushed me and I did. And I thought, okay, that's the first one. I've written a book, and they pushed me on the second one. They made me do the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th. And I'm now doing my 6th book, which is Passion and Vision for Entrepreneurs.
Obviously, you have a lot of knowledge that you feel you need to share with people, a lot of tips that you can give people. I feel that you have this need, that you have this knowledge. Internet in the years you were talking about was really very unknown. I know I introduced internet into Spain, and through the textile industry, actually. It was curious to see how that need came out and trends online. How did your knowledge of internet become so good that you've written 4 books on it?
I started programming at the age of 14. And I remember it was the first year we came to Spain, and I begged my father to buy me, if anybody would remember those days, in 1985 or 6, it was an Amstrad 6128. So he did buy me this computer, which came with a Spanish manual, and I spoke no Spanish. So I picked up this book in Spanish and typed what I could find was in English into the computer. And bit by bit, I learned how to program. I taught myself how to program, and I fell in love with it. To be honest, actually, with the gentleman sitting outside, I was just speaking, and I told him how much I was in love, and he said he was in love with programming too.
What a coincidence is that? I mean, is this an Iranian thing or something? Yeah,
I can't really tell you. I only got to know him for a few minutes, but It's certainly a thing that a lot of people my age who bought a computer in those days that I do meet now, they're all very much into programming. The one who bought a computer in the 1980s knows what I'm talking about. It's beyond that passion.
It's an understanding, I think, that other people just don't have, because it was very new at the time, and our brains really don't go that way. I'm a pen and paper girl, my diaries, and I use a computer and I like a computer, but I don't think computer, which is obviously what you do. You understand its language, you speak computer.
It is a language. It is a language, and once you learn to communicate that language, you then understand the beauty of that language. You can understand the poetry and the beauty in that language. And I would say computer does have poetry within it.
I would say also that this would be perhaps a good career option for youngsters out there not knowing perhaps what to do with their lives. Looks like you've been very successful with your computer programming, and it'd be like something that's maybe good to do, you know, as a career for youngsters now, especially now as everything is online.
It is. In fact, I'm reading a book which is called The Future is Faster Than You Think. And it talks about how computer, artificial intelligence, machine learning is going to change our life beyond what we know, and how this knowledge is going to be prime. However, I do have one thing, and I always say it to everybody, including to my stepson, and I say, follow your passion. Don't fall for the money, follow for your passion. And when you follow your passion, when you follow your heart, the money will follow you. That is my ultimate consejo to anybody. I
have to say, I couldn't agree more, and what a perfect note to finish on. What sound advice. If it feels right and it feels good, that is definitely the path to follow. As you say, when you do something with passion, love and dedication, then the money will follow. Ali, lovely to see you again. Lovely to hear about the Achievers Toastmasters Club and to see that it is such an exciting group that you might also be interested in joining. If they'll have you, I don't know. You'll have to contact them and find out. Ali, I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much. We're going to go now to some messages from our sponsors, but don't go away because we will be back in just a moment.
When I'm the designated driver, I think it's only fair that I get to choose a zero-hero venue that rewards me with free soft drinks. My friends all get to choose and booze, and they feel safe going home with me. Make sure that you get your reward for being the designated driver. Why pay if you don't have to?
Judy likes to consider herself a clever young woman, which is why she thought very carefully before choosing her insurance company. Now that she needs it, she's jolly glad she chose Linear Director, as it looks as if she might have something better to do. Why don't you be clever, like Judy? Call Linear Director on 952 14 78 34 and see which policy is best for you.
Zero Hero, welcome to the Playlights.
Hello guys, welcome to Harbor. All the designated drivers are welcome here to the Harbor. And we are very proud to be a Zero Hero partner.
G-Wine is happy to be Zero Hero partner.
Hi guys, Ross here from Hogan Stand. Proud to be a member of the Zero Hero campaign. And we recommend everybody. Nobody drives drinking. Everybody who drives a car doesn't have any alcohol in their system, and we're proud to sponsor the Zero Hero program.
Welcome back to the kitchen of Chef Aitor Peruena here at La Rosticceria. Homemade food to take away, made with love. And once again, Aitor is going to show us how to make an easy, simple recipe that's perfect for one or also for one of those festive feasts that are going to be coming up. Aitor, buenos días. ¿Qué tal?
Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Pleased to hear.
And you?
Very well, thank you. What are we going to be making today?
Vamos a hacer un tiramisú. Sobre todo, lo que me gustaría que vieseis es cómo podemos hacer un tiramisú express en 5 o 6 minutos. O sea, es una receta súper rápida, rica, sabrosa y con muchos adeptos. Mucha gente le gusta este postre.
We're going to make a tiramisu. Now, I have no idea what goes into one of these things. I'm not a big dessert eater. But Aitor is saying he's going to show us a recipe we can do in about 5-6 minutes and look like we are genius chefs. Me encanta la idea. Venga, por ello. Let's get on it.
Para una merienda, una visita improvisada, podemos hacer.
A surprise visit for a snack in the afternoon or a fun thing to put together for your kids.
Necesitamos claras de huevo,
These are egg whites,
queso mascarpone,
mascarpone cheese,
queso, azúcar,
sugar.
un poquito de
Oh, look at these little sugar fingers.
estos bizcochitos, un poquito de café soluble,
A little bit of soluble coffee.
muy importante, ron, un poquito de ron.
A little bit of rum. Maybe you don't add that in for the kids.
Teóricamente es con amaretto, pero yo le voy a meter un toque de ron, ¿vale?
He's saying normally this would be with amaretto, but he's going to use
Para los
rum.
ingleses y escoceses whisky, no pasa nada,
He said for the English and the Scotch, we'll like it.
¿vale? Y luego también vamos a necesitar un poquito de café ya diluido, ¿vale?
And also some already made up coffee, but he's also just used the soluble coffee here.
Puede ser café soluble, café de cafetera, así que nada, empiezo a montar las claras solamente sin nada, ¿eh?
Okay, so he's going to beat the egg whites.
Es muy rápido. En la mitad del proceso le voy a meter azúcar.
Halfway through, he's adding the sugar.
Aquí hay 4 claras de huevo y hay 80 gramos de azúcar.
80 grams of sugar for 4 egg whites.
¿A quién no le gusta hacer estos dibujos en una clara montada, eh?
He's having a great time making little pictures in his egg whites here.
¿Qué tal? Bueno, pues ya tenemos las claras totalmente montadas. He hecho aquí un poquito de café soluble.
Now he's putting a little bit of the coffee powder into the egg whites
Porque realmente queremos que el tiramisú sepa a café. Entonces,
because we want it to have a coffee flavor.
bien, simplemente este café soluble le cambia un poco el tono de color y le da, muy importante, sabor.
Changes the color slightly and above all gives it flavor.
Ahora,
Now the mascarpone cheese.
a mí no me gusta que quede muy espeso, me gusta que quede cremoso.
He likes it to be creamy, not too thick.
Para esa cantidad vamos a añadir 350 de queso mascarpone.
350 grams of mascarpone cheese to have 4 egg whites, or 80 grams of sugar.
Y mezclamos.
And mixing.
Como veréis, se mezcla muy bien, sin nada de grumos.
No lumps, all looking good. A lot of elbow grease going into this.
Así está. Perfecto. Vamos a conservar esto aquí y vamos a hacer el siguiente paso, que va a ser mojar los bizcochos.
And now we're going to dip
El café tiene que estar templado.
the little sugar biscuits. Or it's just warm coffee.
y hacemos que el bizcocho se humedezca.
Completely soaking in that coffee.
Ahora rompemos estos bizcochos mojados de café y los vamos colocando en estos vasitos.
So he's breaking now the biscuits in pieces and he's putting them in the bottom of these little jars. You can use ramekins, anything.
Yo creo que saldrán unos 6, 7.
6 or 7 portions should come out of this amount.
Y vamos a colocarlo en esta manga. Usamos este pequeño truco. Colocamos la manga en un recipiente y cómodamente.
Oh, look, it's got a disposable throwaway thing to pipe all the cream mixture. Very cool.
Tenemos ya el relleno en la manga y
So
ahora
now he's going to pipe it in, but obviously for those who are less prepared, you can obviously just spoon it in.
esto es precioso. Hacemos como varias capas.
So basically he's going to just do layers of the
El café es muy importante.
biscuits soaked in the coffee.
Que a alguien no le gusta el café,
And
pues
the cream
le puede
mixture.
mezclar cacao,
You can always use chocolate instead of coffee. Of course, you can use anything.
cualquier
This is
cosa.
the base idea.
Ahora estamos con las castañas, se podría meter algo de castañas.
You can use chestnuts.
Oh, las castañas me encantan. Y enseguida otra capa arriba.
And now another layer.
Perfecto. Bien. Y para terminar, le vamos a poner una galletita así encima.
Altre congelado y las castañas congeladas.
Y lo vamos a terminar con un poquito de cacao espolvoreado.
Sí, no te preocupes.
And a little bit of chocolate powder on the top to decorate. But of course, then
Un poquito de cacao.
Venga, gracias, hasta luego.
Y con esto tenemos unos tiramisús con un toque de ron, rápidos, muy ligeros. Recomendamos meterlos al frío, que cogen un poquito de cuerpo, y en lo que decimos, en 5 o 6 minutos tenemos un postre fresco, ligero, agradable y bueno, que tiene, es lo que decimos, muchísimos adeptos. Es uno de los postres más vendidos en todo el mundo.
one of the most sought after desserts and sold around the world, tiramisu. And we've just shown you thanks to Aitor Peruana, chef here at La Rosticheria, how to make it in a matter of moments. Aitor, muchísimas gracias.
Nada,
Hasta la
un gustazo.
próxima. See you next week.
Cualquier cosa a la receta, un email.
Email here if you would like the exact details for the recipe, for this or all the other recipes. And come and get your takeaway food. It's all delicious. Gracias.
Chao.